Hello, I'm Alfonso Pallavicini, the President of European Historic Houses. We represent hundreds of thousands of private historic buildings in Europe, which are the face of Europe. A good part is open to the public, and most of them have a relevant role in the attractiveness of their small rural community, as they are key to bring tourism and hence work and hence tax revenues. We welcome the Green Deal. Nevertheless, we want to make sure that the very specific situation of historic houses is understood by you, the lawmakers, and the reason why they cannot be treated like the 97% of other buildings which are modern. This is why historic houses had an exception in the past directives, and this is why it is absolutely necessary to keep this exception in the future. Most of our historic houses were built in locally sourced stone and timber before concrete and steel became the main building materials in Europe. Our listed houses were built to last hundreds of years and hence are the perfect example of durable and eco-friendly. And most of them are an irreplaceable testimony of our European cultural heritage. And this is why most of them are protected in one way or another. The simple energy-saving solutions which can be used for a modern building cannot be used in historic houses or are even often forbidden by protection laws. We cannot insulate from the outside, we cannot alter the roof, we cannot install photovoltaic panels. And if we're able to do something, it's extremely costly because everything must be custom-made. This is why historic houses had an exception in the past. And this is why it is absolutely necessary to keep it for the future. This film will show you what I explain in a few practical examples, and I hope it will convince us to stay pragmatic and to help us save an important part of our European cultural heritage.
The vast majority of listed buildings in Denmark are fairly simple houses like the ones we can see here. Thatch roof buildings, half-timber buildings. This house is typical for Danish rural architecture, probably built in the late 18th century and obviously of historical value. It's been extremely well kept. As you can see, the oak half-timber is still intact. The windows, the original windows, have been repaired and painted meticulously and carefully over the years. And a house like this would lose its raison d'être completely if, for example, we were forced to add exterior insulation to the walls. The half-timber would disappear, the windows would suddenly sit in a very deep recess, which is very atypical for Danish vernacular historical architecture. So in this case, it's simply not an option. The heritage values would disappear, and add to that the technical aspect that adding insulation to the half-timbered wall is the same as provoking rot and dry rot in the timber itself in a very short period of time, 5 to 8 years, and the house would simply fall apart. Particularly in the climate we have in Denmark, southern Scandinavia, the Netherlands, northern Germany, and so on, where we have relatively cold and very humid conditions, any type of insulation will create serious technical problems in a very short time. Anything wooden, that is all the beams, the end of the beams and so on, that go into the wall will start to decay. As long as we maintain that the house is of cultural value, we simply cannot do anything about the walls.
Himmelschenburg Castle was built between 1588 and 1613 by my ancestors in the Renaissance style. It is located in Lower Saxony, Germany. The estate surrounding the castle has been in my family for over 580 years. Ever since, our family has been engaged in agriculture and forestry. In 1973, my parents opened the castle to the public. We continue to have daily tours. Visitors from all over the world, but also school classes from the region, come to learn about the rich historic architecture and the family history. Thus, this monument is an important cultural mediator. It can be seen very clearly on the exterior facade that the application of exterior insulation is not possible. The facade decoration, in our case dating back to the 16th and 17th century, cannot simply be packed under thermal insulation. However, many of the century-old monuments are already rather energy efficient. The mostly very thick exterior walls have very good insulation properties. Moreover, during the heating period, only the living quarters of the owner's family are heated, and that's only about 15% of the volume of the castle. The huge historical part of the castle receives only minimal backup heating. The owners of historical buildings naturally want to save on their heating costs and improve their house's energy efficiency. However, their status as monuments and monument law prohibit the use of energy-saving measures, such as exterior insulation. Imagine trying to install a photovoltaic system here. Between the step gables of the Renaissance period, there are relatively small roof areas that would technically be available for installing photovoltaic elements. There simply isn't enough space. To add to that, the roof is covered with historical roofing with slate plates. Photovoltaic and solar thermal systems on roof surfaces are also incompatible with the protected status of the building's cultural heritage from the point of view of the monument authorities.
Voilà le château. Et sur la droite, on voit apparaître les communs. D'abord un logis, ensuite le théâtre avec le toit en ardoise, la grande salle de réception, le logis gîte hôtel et enfin en retour la toiture neuve qui est la chaufferie. Dans la partie gauche du bâtiment, la chaufferie en elle-même, et dans la partie droite, le silo et le système d'alimentation du silo, caché dans ce bâtiment rénové et qui distribue l'ensemble des communs et du château par un réseau enterré. Les bâtiments des communs ne sont que partiellement isolés, les fenêtres ne pouvant faire l'objet d'aucune modification. Nous sommes à l'intérieur du château, au rez-de-chaussée. Il y a partout des volets intérieurs qui permettent de pouvoir assurer un peu d'isolation, mais c'est bien peu de choses au regard d'une isolation moderne. Dans les grands couloirs et à l'étage, on se rend bien compte que la situation est identique. Il n'y a pas vraiment de possibilité d'amélioration. Ce qu'on a fait sur les couloirs au nord, par exemple, sur ces fenêtres qui sont au nombre de 7, nous avons posé un survitrage très modeste, mais qui coupe un petit peu l'effet de froid de ces fenêtres anciennes, qui bien évidemment laissent passer l'air. L'ensemble de ces bâtiments sont partiellement isolés dans les toitures, là où c'était possible. Par exemple, le château, lui, c'est complètement impossible. Il n'y a pas de possibilité d'isolation des fenêtres qui sont à petits carreaux avec de grandes hauteurs sous plafond. Et la toiture à la mansarde, nous avons pu, dans les faux plafonds, cacher des isolants, mais de façon extrêmement limitée, et ce qui nous a été autorisé.
We all agree on the Green Deal. All our family, all historic house owners knows that it is important to respect the environment, and we are all on the same board. We want to protect it. But historic house is something very important. And our job in the European Association in Brussels is to talk to the politicians and to talk to the experts which are dealing with those issues. I think it's important that we show them that we know the issue, that the issue is something important for all of us. An historic house is a house which is very special. Most of them has got more than 100, 200, 300 years old, and they've been built to go on for years and years. Our duty as a family is to try to go on with the next generation. And I just wanted to conclude that exception is something that will save the house. The states are not very good to keep the house and to buy the house. They haven't got the money to do it. We must try to keep them into the hands of the family, and that's the best way to go on with those nice parts of history and our culture.